All right, guys, welcome back to the Command Your Brand Show. I'm your host, Josh Silvestro, brand ambassador of Command Your Brand. In this episode, I'd like to have a very special guest speaker that I have on who is just a really good friend of mine. He's a really good friend of my parents. And he actually, fun fact, is I used to be homeschooled and he was actually my teacher for being homeschooled. He's a songwriter. He's a singer. He's just an amazing human being. So I'd like to introduce you guys to Julius Delagard Jr. So Julius, thanks for joining the show.
Absolutely. Good. Hi, it's good to be here.
Yeah.
Fiction,
Yeah. So I guess what we'll talk about. So I have a lot of people here on the show who are, CEOs, founders of their own companies, and some of them are big, some of them are small. So I guess tell us a little bit about yourself. Why did you get to singing and songwriting, and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got there.
Oh my God. Well, I always think about this. I started out, just listening to Motown records. You heard of Motown? Well, my father used to play a lot of, on weekends, he'd be home. He worked during the week, but on weekends, he'd be chilling in the living room and he'd be playing Motown or Johnny Mathis, Frank Sinatra, stuff. And I would just start imitating these singers a little bit in the background and on my own, not knowing that my father would be even listening to me. I just got into it. And one time, he actually, because my father had a business club, right? And he would have meetings at the house, and some of his members were having a meeting, and he said, Junior, they call me Junior, why don't you come out here and sing something for the fellas? I'm like, what? I didn't even know. So so I went, I said, oh, okay, I'll sing something. I went out there and I sang something, I don't know, and that was kind of my introduction. And they were polite, they were accepting, and it was like, whoa, I didn't know you could sing and all that. Anyway, so I went from that, and junior high school, I wound up singing with a group. This is another strange moment. Now that I think about it, back in junior high school, you have this thing where on Fridays, I think it was assembly day, where everybody goes, all the classes meet, and they go into the auditorium, and there's usually some event happening. Well, this particular time, there was a talent show.
Wow.
Which I didn't know. I wasn't planning to be in it, but I happened to be wearing a black suit that day. I don't know, my parents had me wear a black suit. And this fella comes up to me and he says, hey, listen, we need help. We got one of our members in our group is not here. He's supposed to be on the stage with us, and you're not here. Can you join us on this song? We're doing this song, Tears on My Pillow by Little Anthony. I knew the song. I said, oh, yeah, okay, why not? I went for it. And the part I just had was just like a little, ooh, something like that. Ooh, it's a very easy part. Anyway, so I wound up doing that. Next thing you know, I joined that group. And I became part of that group. They would later be called the Premiers. And then we went on to some point, we came in third place at the amateur hour at the Apollo Theater.
Wow.
We did that, third place. We didn't get kicked off the stage. The Apollo Theater, man, it could be, they have this clown that comes out. If you're bad, he comes out with this big hook. Anyway, we came in third place there. So that was kind of acknowledgement. Years later, am I going on too far? I don't know.
No, you keep going.
I'm just kind of popping into highlight moments. Later on, I went into Queens College. I was in college for years. And then at some point I said, you know what? I said to my girlfriend at the time, I said, you know what? I'm going to go find out what's really going on. Let me see. I'm going to probably join a band, whatever. I was playing trombone at the time. And I used to carry my trombone with me on my shoulder. So one day on the subway, on the train, this guy comes up to me and says, hey, you play trombone? I said, yeah. He says, we're looking for a trombone player. We got a potential record deal going on. Would you be interested in joining? I said, sure, I'll come down. I went down. I auditioned for the band. I got the job. I saw their group. I listened to them sing. I didn't say anything about the fact that I also sing, right? But I got in the band as a trombone player. And at some point, they were working on a song. This is after we were doing shows and this and that. The singer that they had, they were working on a new song. And for some reason, he wasn't clicking with it exactly what they wanted. And me being a kind of a songwriter also and singer, I kind of got the idea what they wanted to do with this. And I just said, maybe I can help out with this. Let me suggest something. And they allowed me to do that. And the next thing you know, I became the lead singer of the band.
Wow.
I wasn't planning to do that. I just wanted to help out, right? Seriously. but I became the lead singer, and I was also a trombone player. And we went on to become, we went on to RCA Records and became Crown Heights Affair. And the song I sung became a big hit called Dreaming the Dream, was in the top 40 back in those days in 74, I think it was. And yeah, we did a lot of shows, did shows with Chaka Khan and different people, over
Yeah,
the years.
that's so
It's been
cool.
quite a journey. And one of my songs was on the first album. Ha ha ha.
Wow. Which song was that?
It was called Sitting on Top of the World. I
Wow.
wrote that song. I wrote that song before I got into Crown Heights. I wrote that song. I was taking a shower. It's amazing how songs come to you, lyrics, melodies come to you. Whenever they come, you just got to be ready. I found that out. So, because my girlfriend at the time was away. I hadn't seen her in a long time, maybe a couple of months, and she was coming back to town. And so I'm taking a shower, and I know she was going to come to this club we were going to be performing at. And in the shower, I'm saying, lately these days I find I'm sitting on top of the world.
Yeah.
And I said, wait a second, this is a song coming through. Oh, boy. So I hurried up out of the shower, and I started writing down the lyrics because you got to write them down quick.
Yes.
When they come, you got to be ready. I used to sleep with a paper and pen by my bed.
Wow.
Seriously, sometimes I'd wake up and say, "Oh, that's the idea for that song." Turn on the light, write down that idea, then turn the light off and go back to sleep.
Wow. That sounds so adventurous.
Huh?
That sounds so adventurous.
Oh man! Those are such highs. When I'm writing a song, I am like, I'm in another world. Like, it's like it's a real high all by itself. Performing is great; it's a high too. But the creative process, when it's coming to you, it's very, very spiritual. I feel like they're like messages that you get that you have to like tune into and be aware that it's coming to you. It's a gift. Take advantage of it, right?
That's totally true.
So that's part of my story there.
That's great. So I guess I know at one point, some people have this fear, like even as business owners, like they have this fear of either getting started something or just taking the leap actually. Because I know for you, was there a point where when you're about to sing or trying to sing that there's a stage fright of some kind?
Funny you should mention that. I had stage fright big time. I mean, back in those days in college, whatever, high school, I'd had, some fellows would be together. We'd take a little shot of something, scotch or something, to get bravery to meet the challenge of going on stage. It was all false courage. At some point, I just started looking at individuals. I got the idea, instead of trying to face the whole audience, I just focus out little individuals in the audience and sing to that person. And I got comfortable singing to that person. And then I look at another person and sing to that person. Next thing you know, I'm more relaxed there. And then it didn't matter the size of the audience anymore. I actually got to the point where, I wouldn't even stay on the stage. I wind up in the audience.
Wow.
Because my communication level just got so high that I wanted to be a part of the audience. I wanted to really, have a real group thing going. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's how it is today when I perform. I'm right there in the audience, singing with people. Participation is key.
Right.
They can't just sit there and just, listen. No, they got to be in there clapping. They got to be in there singing. They got to be jumping. They got to, and I want to take them to that place. So they should be different than when they first came in.
Yeah.
All right.
It's interesting because I know it's interesting how you're talking about where, you're in front, you're really made the group smaller in a way, even though it's not actually smaller, but you made it to one person communicating to one person. And I think a lot of people, especially in the business industry, in different areas of business where people are trying to communicate to a broad general person rather than just individually handling one person at a time.
Exactly. I'll tell you another secret that happened to me. That's how I compare. A guy sits on a motorcycle and he's not taking off yet, but he's sitting there revving up.
Yes.
Well, every time before I would have to go on stage, I would notice that I feel this adrenaline pump thing going on in my system. And at the beginning, I didn't know what it was. So I had I was still stage fright. I was afraid, oh God, I'll go on stage, give me a shot or whatever, at a certain point, I realized that it was just natural energy building up to
Mm,
to address what I had to do. So I wound up using that energy instead of trying to run away from it. I was going with it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So it was like what, and I always could tell when whoever's producing the show will come back and say, "Okay, you're next" or something like that. I can always tell when it's about to happen because I can really feel the building up.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, good, here we go. Give me the mic."
That's so funny. And it's kind of interesting too, because I know a lot of people are afraid to do things even, and they don't see what's going on around them. And again, I think that's just a natural part of being human, of like, just like having that adrenaline kind of going through you, and you're like, oh my God, like, what am I supposed to do next? If I should do it, should I take it? I think that's very fascinating what you were talking about. Like, it's just what you do with it.
Yeah, I connected with it. I said, "Oh man, this is something I'm supposed to use.
Hmm.
I shouldn't be afraid of it. I should use it."
Right.
You
And
know,
what do you think would be a right way to use it? Because like I know people have it, but they don't know what to do with it.
the right way to use it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. For me, here's what I do. A lot of times,
Mhm.
if I'm going to perform at a certain place, I actually take in the space of the where I'm going to perform. I kind of put my attention out to certain spots in the audience, even before the show, even before the people are there. I kind of look around and then I imagine myself being over here. I imagine myself being over there or talking to someone there, and I just kind of just put my, I don't know, you could say your anchor points or something. Just putting your attention out
Yeah.
in such a way that you're taking in the whole space. Oh, and I used to have a fear of large spaces too.
Huh.
It just made me think of that. If you how you walk into a stadium like a big baseball stadium or Madison Square Garden, and somehow as you're walking in, it gets bigger and bigger.
Hmm.
As you're coming down the stairs or up the stairs, the thing opens up. That for me, that used to be an overwhelming experience. Serious.
Yeah.
But then it got to the point where it's like, hey, I can have this space.
Yeah. Yeah. And part of it too, I think is interesting is like you have to be willing to have certain things that go on, even in a business or in life. Like you have to be willing to be okay with what's happening, what goes on around you. So
You have to.
yeah.
You have to be there willing, yeah.
That's right. And what do you do? Because I know as a performer, you obviously didn't just do it overnight. You, I'm sure, practice to a point where like you're now perfected the art.
Well, I do practice. I
Yeah.
do take on, like, if it's the lyrics, I try to really get into it, and I really get into the emotional aspects of the lyrics.
Mm.
Excuse me,
Mhm.
and I just try to make it my own. Like
Mm.
I'm telling the story. It's not like I'm telling somebody else's story. I'm living it. That's kind of part of. Then it becomes more real to me,
Right.
and I could sing the same song 20 times, 100 times, but each time I sing it, it's like it's the first time.
Mm.
Because I'm singing it to a new audience, uh, and I'm feeling a little bit different about it. Depending on who I'm looking at in the audience too. You
Right.
know, like you get messages from people. Like as you look at them, you get communications. Even they may not say it, but some expression they might have. And you can get right into that expression and communicate right to that person or that person, or just decide what you want to
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
When you write a song, do you actually communicate a message in that song?
Sometimes I'll have two messages.
Mm.
And so, in other words, I'll have it where you can take it one way or you could take it another way. I can't think of an exact example right at the moment. Well, even sitting on top of the world, I mean, I'm not really sitting on top of the world, but
Yeah.
it's like a high. It's like you're just very like elevated in your spirit, like
Mhm.
just how you're feeling about things, right? Um, yeah, I used to notice that. I didn't do it on purpose, but I used to notice some of my songs had double meanings to them.
Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting. So like when you sing, there's always a message that came across of like it can go this way or it can go that way,
I had
right?
a song called "I Don't Want to Go Downtown,"
Yeah.
and it was about it was
Yeah.
about losing a girl.
Mm.
Because it's like all my fellas, everybody hangs out, and they know that I used to be with this particular girl, right?
Mhm.
And they see me, and it's like, "Where's so and so? What happened?" And I don't want to keep telling the story about, yeah, well, we broke up, and it's like just kind of reached the point where. So I had this song called "I Don't Want to Go Downtown," but at the same time, it's like I don't want to be sad.
Right.
I don't want to go downtown, like in my emotions or my feelings. So there was a
Yeah.
double meaning there as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know it's interesting too, is like, I don't know how cultural you've listened to a lot of these songs nowadays. Like you have like Taylor Swift and other people around, right? And I'll give an example. Like Taylor Swift just she sometimes promotes a really dark message. Like even though it sounds sounds higher toned of like, oh, like it has a really nice melody, but it just, some of the songs are very downtoned about how messed up her boyfriend is or whatever. And it's kind of interesting because it's not always about how the higher tone it is, but it's just the actual what message you're trying to deliver to people.
Got a slight cough.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
But well, I got a song called "Civilizations."
Yes.
And it's just the words just come out. It's like part of the words is help us build one. Civilizations come and they go. Would come help us build one. It's like looking at civilization as it is now. It's not in great. I'm not trying to be all political, but it's like,
yeah,
situation is not good. Anyone can look at it and say, "Man, this place is kind of messed up,"
Yeah.
And my song "Civilizations" has that uplifting thing about it. It's got to like more, it's all up, and more than over half the people in the world today, are searching high and low for freedom. I can hear them say, "Help us build one."
That's right.
Yeah, it's just up there like that.
Yeah, I think it's so cool with you specifically. There's such a the tone and what you bring is actually more life into people rather than bring it more saddened. You know what I mean? Because some people just, they take, obviously depending on the person where they're at in terms of their life. It's sort of like some people can't take, they need lower toned type of music, but like it doesn't really bring them to the higher position of their tone. It's sort of like people are just sort of like, I want to be sad because I want to listen to sad music, instead of like, I want to listen to music to be uplifted,
You're making me think. I got a song called "Where the Sad and the Lonely Live."
Mm-hmm.
And it's about the homeless.
Mm.
And it's I don't know if I should start singing any parts of it, but
Yeah.
It's got that whole "Where the sad and the lonely live. Do you know anyone?
Yes.
Come to know anyone?" And it's got a whole story about they talk. They're out there. You don't know their story, but some of these guys are like got really amazing stories. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's one of my songs that kind of go down. But I put it I take it from that perspective, but look at it from a more higher level.
Right.
Well, why don't you get to know that person?
Mm-hmm.
He is somebody. She is somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can we create with that?
Yeah. I find it's like, with people, it's just so hard because like you sort of have to know exactly where they are, and I feel like with you kind of know where everyone is when just before they even come and they actually are entertained. Like, just because I've seen so many times you sing and you just see sometimes the tone is, sometimes it's good and then sometimes it's not so good. And then you just kind of know how to read the room and you just kind of bring life to it. That's what I think it's all kind of what it's about. I think with just music or performing or anything, it's just, you bring the cheerfulness into something you made something beautiful rather than something just messy and garbage,
Absolutely. I mean, you got to look at it because, like right now, I don't know if I told you, but during the daytime, I have this day thing that I do. I started doing it a couple of years ago, even before COVID, hitting the nursing homes.
Yeah.
Right? And right now, I have a group. Me and my partner, we call ourselves Spirits Up, the musical duo group.
Yeah.
It's an upright bass, and I come and sing.
Yeah.
Our message is raising the spirits of everyone. So Spirits Up, raising the spirits of everyone.
Wow.
And that's our message, what we do. And we go in there, you see they're in there and they're in their wheelchairs and they're this and that. And, but we leave them smiling, happy. When are you coming back? This kind of thing, and that's our point. My whole thing is about that, raising people.
Right.
In the spiritual level, like not being down in the doldrums, but like in their emotions, like really, And also when we do those songs, we do songs from back in the day, what makes them reminisce of times, like the 60s, 50s, whatever like that with it,
Yeah.
Do it and they sing along.
Yeah. I guess like one thing that's interesting is so for you, because you obviously you have a partner and you kind of, your goal is you want to uplift people. What do you find that people don't do today as performers or as people who sing or anything like that, that they don't do today that they should do, like with what you're doing?
Well, I don't know. The first thing that comes to mind is I have some of the directors of different places I've gone to in these nursing homes. What they point out to me and to my partners that we engage the people.
Mm,
We get them involved. I don't just sing the song. It's like a business, you know what I mean?
sure.
Or I don't have the lyric sheet in front of me and I'll just sing the song and that's it. No, I'm the whole thing comes alive. Like I said, it's like it's us. It's
Right.
not just me singing to them. It's like this is a whole group thing, you know.
Right.
So I think they love that.
Mhm.
They're participants. They're being participants in it, and that is something that I always have to have happen.
Mhm.
It's like kind of one policy.
Yeah,
It has to be there. I can't have an audience just sitting there.
sure.
I mean, I've done shows. This is even with the bands I've been in. I've done shows and I see the audience kind of just sit there, and at the end of the song, they kind of clap politely, and I go, "Oh man, we're not really hitting them that hard. They're not really getting it." But you know what? That's just where they're at. At the end of the show, I have all these guys coming up to say, "Man, you guys are great. Man, we really love what you're doing." I'm going like, "What?
Yeah.
Where was all that emotion throughout the performance?" I mean, I think they have the idea of like it's some kind of a classical show or something like that. Where if you had a concert like a opera or something like that, you got to politely just sit there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know what it's all about,
Yeah.
but I love a participating audience that's involved,
Yeah.
helping, singing, whatever like that.
Yeah, I think too, also in life too, like you have to get other people participating. If they don't participate, then there's no show, there's no people. It's sort of like I kind of look at like a chessboard, like you're playing you and opponent and the chess. There's no opponent if there's no audience. You know what I mean? Like there has to be, they're all part of the puzzle and they're all part of the show. Is they create the show as well. So I love the fact that you make them actually participate. And I think this goes for any business too, that kind of are just like, you got to get people to participate, whether it's referring someone or, getting feedback from them. There's always some type of participation. It's always a group effort in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I just realized something. It's actually like a game.
Yeah.
You can't have a game just you by
Right.
yourself. The
Yeah.
game is interaction. You do this, they do that.
Right.
You do this.
Yeah.
Or you're doing something together,
Yeah. What do you find is what helps you bring that community or that audience, like uplift them? What do you find what creates the uplifting parts? Is it the participation, you think, or is it more the songs?
I think it's just, I think it's a combination, but I think it's the songs with the title of the song. Even if I did a cover song, if I do Lean on Me, a Bill Withers
Mm.
song,
Mhm.
I mean, as soon as I start it, and I'll tell them, I say, "Hey, we're going to church now, y'all." I know it's Tuesday, but we're going to church right now.
We're changing it to Sunday now.
That's right. There's a game in that, see?
Yeah.
And I just start that song, and people just get right into it, man. They get right into it, man, and so it's a combination. It's what the song is saying, and it's just what I want to have happen with the audience.
Yeah.
I
What
want-
I think I appreciate you the most, Julius, is, even besides me being your student of like high school and like middle school and things like that, is you really know how to bring a community together and work together to create an effect of something. So I guess like for me, if I were to tell people or you were to instill, your knowledge to other people, even business owners, CEOs, people that run projects, what can you say to people that would help propel an actual community in their workforce or their business?
Wow, it's a big question. That wasn't
I know.
expecting that.
I know.
But you gotta have. I take it from the top. You gotta have a goal.
Mhm.
You gotta have a purpose. Like why am I doing what I'm doing? And then you gotta get others to see that. If they can see your goal, they can see your purpose, and then it aligns with them. Well, then you can start creating a team. You know, And then whatever the project is you're working on, you go at it, and but if you that motivates you too. You see, if you actually have um a goal in mind or a purpose in mind that you really feel,
Mm-hmm.
then that gets you going. But if you're doing something that you're just doing this because you got to do it, that's what they want, then that's a whole different other game. But
Sure.
if you're doing something that, like they're just driving you, then you just got to get behind it and see how you can get others to see whatever that thing is. And you gotta break it down into steps.
Yeah.
I don't know, like even baby steps, like, whatever it is for that person,
Because I know it's something funny. It's one of the things that I've had people on this podcast is one of the things they are trying to always tweak and try to make better, but sometimes they have a very hard time with is building a community and getting a community together. Like, because a lot of businesses are focused on making money, they can't really build a community. So how do you think people should build a community with business? Like, is that something people should actually do, or is it something that really, because I know for you, you're very good at building a community, and how would you suggest to people,
I mean, I think it's part of the entrepreneurial spirit.
Mhm.
You just start with you, and you got to promote yourself. You got to have something that you're actually doing
Right.
that's constructive, that makes sense, and then that is something that can contribute to the community, to the world, to society, and then you get step by step. The more the more you're making yourself known, you'll slowly have people come to you. Hey, I'm interested in what you're doing. Like, I had thoughts like that myself, like, you could say, well, can you join me? Well, well, yeah. And he says, yeah, I'm good at this. I'm good at that. Well, good. So why don't we get together? And, I mean, like step by step, I don't know, these things just start to happen. And the more you promote, you'll have a community.
That's right.
I think that's what it is. You got to keep it's just going to build. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to get 100 people overnight. You're going to get
Sure.
one person. Maybe that person share it with somebody else. The other person joins in. And if you're doing like these things, like these podcasts or communications, that's where the world is today anyway. This is the level of communication. It's not just about writing a letter or something like that. Those days are gone. It's
Yeah.
like, it's like YouTube, it's Instagram, it's, that's the level, and it's universal now. It's not just in your own community. Like you can do something here, and next thing somebody way over in the Far East or something like that can tap into it,
Right.
which is amazing.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like how just social media now works. It's sort of like no one even watches TV or cable. Remember we used to have cable?
Yeah, like, even TV sounds weird. Like TV. Oh yeah, TV.
Channel 5. There's channels.
NBC. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like all these channels, like now they don't even exist anymore. So, and now it's all about YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and other things like that. And that's where a lot of people watch a lot of stuff too,
So true, because you can get everything on there.
Yeah. Like there's like, I remember during COVID where that was like a big thing where people were watching a lot of stuff, whereas there was concerts online and they were kind of play concerts and things like that on YouTube.
Totally.
Yeah.
And actually, some of these are marketable. I mean, some people had concerts that you had to pay to sign in to watch it.
Yeah.
It's
That's
really
great, man.
big. I think they even still have it right now.
Oh, absolutely. And so I guess for you, could you share a story that like you feel like you've touched someone with your music that you feel like you kind of saved their life? I don't know, it's a little bit bigger question, or someone that you've helped with your music or your performing.
Man,
I know you probably helped a lot of people.
yeah, I've helped a lot of people. I mean, I have people come up to me at the end and just talk about, how great you are. You're really this and that. I mean, it's really nice. I'm like humbled by it because, I just feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. It's
Right.
not like I'm trying to do it. I was never the kind of guy that was just, like I grew up in the area where like you had guys that were singers, and they were singers because they could get girls.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? They were singers for this. I sung because it was inspired to do this thing, right? What's your question again? I went off the track.
So it's okay. Was there a particular story that you have that really was inspiring for you, or like really you felt like that gave an impact to you in terms of your music or your performing arts?
Well, I know one time I remember performing here in New York City, and this was right around the time that I actually was now comfortable being on stage. And there was an older lady. This was a mixed audience, a wide audience of different ages. And there was this older lady that just got up in the middle of my performance, was like right there, and like came up to the front of the stage and wanted to shake my hand. And I'm going like, and here's the amazing thing about it is that because I had, like I said, I had just stage fright.
Right.
So at this point, I was like way beyond stage fright. I was like, excuse me, I was way much into the audience.
Right.
So I was into the moment that she came. I was right there with her, shook her hand, and the music was still playing. And I might even moved a little bit with her with my hand, like we're doing a little dance for a moment.
Yeah.
And then I went back. That was an amazing moment.
Wow.
Because usually when I was performing, my attention would be on, okay, so we just finished that song. Let's see. So we got about 2 more songs, and then we'll be off. I was doing the countdown as opposed to being in the moment.
Right.
I got to the point with my comfortability on stage where I can sit there and I can listen to my guitar player taking a solo. I can watch and admire him as he's taking a solo. I can watch, if I'm in a club, I can watch the waiter going by with the drinks for the person. All these things were like magical moments.
Wow.
I mean, because I wasn't into any of that before. My attention was on, okay, we got this song to do, that song, good. And a lot of times I'd be singing with my eyes closed. I wouldn't even look at the audience, And you can get away with that. Like in soulful singing, they think you're just really getting into the song.
Right.
No, but really, I was hiding for the audience.
Yeah.
Hiding
That's amazing.
Sight.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate the time you've given us to kind of ask a lot of questions, and love the fact that you're performing us. And Julius, you're an amazing singer. I've seen you sing probably more than a dozen times, but each time you're always better. You kind of age like fine wine with your voice. So it's kind of amazing,
Josh, the check's in the mail.
That's right.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Yeah, of course. And of course, I would like people to reach out to you, kind of get to know more about you. And if people want to talk to you, maybe they want to have perform for you, and you want to do community events or things like that, where can people reach out to you and find you?
Well, one place they could do is right on our Spirits Up site. It's called Julius, Julius .spiritsup at gmail.com. Julius.spiritsup at gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, Julius, it's amazing. Thank you so much for really joining for our show, and really amazing time I had with you. It was such a pleasure. And of course, I thank everyone also too for listening and, liking and subscribing to this. So definitely, if you guys want to also get on podcasts, or you guys are interested in learning about Julius, you just definitely check him out. And if you guys like this stuff, you can definitely subscribe to us, and I would love to talk to you too. You can definitely check us out at www.commandyourbrand.com and book a call and get to know me better. Okay.
Josh, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.